somewhere I'm in the space of life where I want to do what I really, really want to do. I don't want to do things to impress other people. I want to do certain things, they are in my bucket list before I die, and this is one of them. That I really want to impact lives of people with disabilities in whichever possible.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today it is an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce you all to this very particular session where we are going to know more about the future of fashion. My name is Harsh and I'm going to moderate this session for all of you, wherein I'm going to introduce you all about the event and perhaps the person who is going to interact and address all of us. First of all, I request you to kindly acknowledge and welcome the presence of our esteemed guest, Madam Varija Bajaj, who is here with us. I would like to request all the persons, those who are watching this session on YouTube, to kindly upload in the comment section and welcome the presence of our guest. Madam Varija is a leading name in the Indian fashion segment. She is a member of Fashion Design Council of India and has been a part of Indian Fashion Week for several seasons. Madam Varija Bajaj currently has three apparel brands, Office and You, focusing on workwear for Indian women. Leela is all about fusion wear, and Varija Design Studio focus on bridal. She has been extensively involved in Earnest program for persons with disability pan India and now working towards consolidating all efforts under National Ability Summit. She is now a case study in Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, the most reputed B school of the country. And I believe her profile has so many things, so many glories, which I won't be able to explain in next few minutes. But I'm pretty sure during this conversation, we are going to learn a lot from her. So first of all, ma'am, I welcome you to this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Harsh. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you on this platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's our pleasure too. So, moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is the future of fashion from designing to merchandising, how tech is reshaping the industry. Ma'am, it's a kind of request you kindly explain our viewers how actually the introduction of, we say that, artificial intelligence, data analytics, robotics is actually transforming this fashion industry.
Yes, Harsh, like you rightly said, I think we were heading towards this big change last couple of years, but I think pandemic has accelerated this overnight, wherein all those people who were reluctant to adapt to technology or use technology have no choice but to adapt to it overnight. It is not about whether we like it or we don't like it. This is going to be the new normal, and this is how the customer wants it. So the customer preferences have changed, customers buying behavior has changed, where they buy from has changed. We cannot be adamant about the way we work. So starting from the fashion schools, a lot of fashion students would opt for designing purely because they're very good in sketching. But today we have applications like Photoshop, Corel Draw, Illustrator, AutoCAD. Now, even if you're average in sketching, you can still make good with all these softwares. You can still work on graphics. There are ready templates, there are applications, etc., etc. So to say that no, I will still sketch and I will still draw on paper, is that the requirement? So if people in the corporate sector or in the design world, when they're hiring designers, earlier it was a boon or a bonus if somebody knew these softwares. but now it is sort of mandatory. So it is very important to get yourself equipped with technology. So that is from the hiring and the human resource perspective for the students who are looking at fashion designing, or people who are looking at fashion design as a career opportunity. On the other hand, if we talk about the front end retail, the way we sell, today every person is available through technology, whether it is through WhatsApp, whether it's through email or through social media. Now, to say that no, I will have a physical store and I will sit there and I'm going to sell physically, um, I think you're missing the bus, because the world is moving much faster. So, whether it is data collection to data analysis to remarketing to using all possible applications to reach out to the customer and make them feel comfortable, I think those are the ones who will take the cake than the ones who will, probably just wait and watch and still stick to the old school of thought.
Indeed, ma'am, I think you have given a very detailed overview, and as you have rightly said that, and I must say that it's very hard to disagree with that. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and data analytics will be the future. Ma'am, my next question to you is: I want to know your opinion. What do you think? How do you see the scope of entrepreneurship in the fashion industry, especially in India?
A lot, incidentally. It is a very high entry barrier, of course, in terms of the kind of infrastructure that you require when you start your own company. uh, the first question that you need to ask for yourself is that, are you in the business of making a brand, or are you in the business of making a product? So when you're making a product, it is a high infrastructural cost. When you're making a brand, it's a hard, it's a very high marketing cost that is involved. So unlike lot of other businesses, this industry is a very high entry barrier and a high exit barrier. So you have to be very sure and extremely passionate that you really, really sort of want to do this, because it's not going to be an easy open and an easy close sort of an opportunity. So I think that is the first question that you need to ask yourself. And in terms of entrepreneurship, there's a good and the bad side of the fact that we are in an unorganized segment, or we are in an unorganized market like India. The I'll start with the bad side of it. The bad side of it is that there are no rules to the game, and there are no big leaders with a great learning curve, I would say. I mean, because India is very typical, so we can't ape the West in its typical form. We need to create our own rules of the game. And sometimes it's much easier, somebody set down the rules and somebody's walked that road, and you just sort of follow that path. So that is something which is missing in India, because lot of brands that have come up in recent years, and they are also figuring out that what are the rules of the game. They're also still figuring their foothold in this space. Now the good side of it is that you're the master of the game. So if you start today, you create the rules of the game. So in that sense, you create your own benchmarks. So there are a lot of spaces, and I talk about it. So for example, we are looking at almost 10 to 15% population which is in the space of disability. There's not a single brand that is catering to that segment, which is clothing for persons with disability. When we talk about cancer survivors, breast cancer survivors, there's not a single brand dedicated for mastectomy bras or lingerie for breast cancer survivors. This number is increasing every day. So I think if you identify the need gap, which is not captured by anyone, I think entrepreneurship is going to be in a very exciting space when it comes to fashion.
Indeed, ma'am. Again, it was a quite insightful answer from your side. Ma'am, as you have told, and actually, when yesterday I have got your profile, I also read about you that You have been extensively involved in awareness programs for persons with disability, Pan India, and now working towards consolidating all efforts under National Ability Scheme. And I'm sure you must have answered this question before that more than 500 times. But again, I'm asking you, ma'am, could you please tell our viewers how actually you are doing the things?
So my whole study started about 16 years ago because I'm not typically from the design background. Uh, but I started reading a lot about design. And when I started reading a lot about design, I thought that if I'm blessed to design for people who can speak, understand their psychology, their needs, what they want without they asking for it. That's typically a job of a fashion designer or somebody who is, it's a whole lot of study of human psychology. So if I'm blessed to understand the human psychology of, let's say, Harsh, then I'm also blessed to understand the psychology of a person who cannot speak, people who cannot express their needs. So I started reading about it, and I found very little literature online or even otherwise in the libraries or brands around the world. And then I thought that who is designing clothes for people with disabilities who cannot express in as many words what they really want? And I realized that worldwide this problem is solved by the doctors, not by the fashion designers. Unfortunately, clothing is not in the curriculum of medicine or doctors. So why are they designing clothes? So that's where I started reading, studying, researching about clothing for people with disabilities. And as fate might have it, I opened a Pandora's box because I realized, oh my God, their problems are not limited to just clothes. They have a whole lot of other problems, which is acceptance in the society, inclusion, accessibility. Let's say tomorrow, if somebody has to even start a brand on clothing for persons with disabilities and open a store, but is that store going to be accessible? Does the store manager know sign language? Do you and me know sign language? Because if we don't know sign language, these people, so somebody who is hearing impaired, who cannot listen, they are taught sign languages, right, to communicate. But do you know, Harsh, do you know sign language?
No, ma'am.
No, you don't know sign language. I don't know sign language. So what will happen? They learn sign language, but they communicate with another hearing impaired person. They do not get to communicate with us, right? So there is something fundamentally wrong. Maybe sign language needs to be introduced in school so that Harsh and Varija also knows sign language. And tomorrow they can be included as part of our lives or our system or our ecosystem. Or if I'm hiring somebody or Harsh is working with somebody who is hearing impaired, there is no problem because both of you know sign language. So I opened this whole Pandora's box where I realized, oh my God, there are a whole lot of other problems which need to be addressed. And I think it was like a quicksand, and I kept getting groped in this whole thing about disability, and I started solving about uh, one issue, and I went on, and then I realized mental health and other things. And then I said, okay, this is going to be big. All these years I had been shunning away because a lot of people kept telling me that, oh, what you're thinking is too good to be true. It's like a dream come true, but it's not a one person's task, and it's not going to be easy. But I think somewhere I'm in the space of life where I want to do what I really, really want to do. I don't want to do things to impress other people. I want to do certain things, they are in my bucket list before I die. And this is one of them, that I really want to impact lives of people with disabilities in whichever possible way.
It's really a great initiative, ma'am. And I think the viewers, those who are watching the session, they are surely going to understand. And not only I think, but I do strongly believe this. Ma'am, my next question to you is body positivity is the idea that you should be happy and proud of your body, irrespective of its shape and size. Basically, it means being happy and comfortable in one's skin. Clothing and beauty brands love this idea and they tell you to be yourself, love yourself, size doesn't matter. But simply be study found that 89% of the women found their body types are not represented in catwalks. What are your views on this?
I think it's the entire ecosystem, Harsh. It's not just about fashion designer, it's about also about fashion journalism. So, for example, if a journalist, a fashion journalist, calls me and asks me that, Varija, what is going to be in the season? It is a very difficult question for me to answer because what is going to be in the season for me may not be in for my mother or for my friend because they are different body structures, they have different skin tones. A friend of mine might have a different social or educational or economic background. So, all that impacts my thought process and my personality. So, fashion actually is a representation of who you are, not about what the designer or the fashion forecast wants you to be. So, I think that's where responsible journalism sort of comes in. They have a very imperative or a important role to educate people that accept yourself the way you are and wear clothes that represent you, not what represent a Bollywood actor or an actress, because you're not trying to be somebody else. You have to be okay being yourself. You have to be happy being yourself. So it's I think it's the entire ecosystem that needs to work towards body positivity, and I wouldn't uh, I wouldn't want to bestow that entire responsibility just on brands and fashion designers.
Indeed, ma'am. Ma'am, there's a genuine demand for plus size clothing. Brands have not shy of catering this demand. Most top brands today have a plus size collection, but you know what? One research found that they do not share the same racks as other sizes. Brands have ensured supply but not inclusivity. Plus, is mostly another section, another category, or another department, if not another shop to altogether. Plus, is also another price range. If XS or L or XL is priced the same, why is Plus different?
Yeah, because there are certain logistics problem, and so even we as a brand, we have a small, medium, large, XL, and we don't have qualms to say that because there is a technical issue because when somebody is double XL or triple XL or four times XL, they're not proportionately triple XL. They might be triple XL at the hip level, but they might be just extra large at the bust level, or they might just be large with their arms. So, what we are thinking is a very hypothetical scenario where you are proportionately, so usually in a small or a medium or a large, you're proportionately small, medium, large. But the moment you go triple XL or four times XL, your body becomes disproportionate. So you might be a different size on the top and a different size at the bottom. So invariably, you have a lot of dead stock if you start making triple XL. So meet any triple XL person, they would prefer getting their clothing custom made, which is going to their tailor or the boutique or custom tailoring shop where they can get things, because they wouldn't want to, if they are triple XL at the bottom but they are just XL at the top, why should they wear an outfit which is triple XL at the top? Because it'll not fit well. So it makes sense to get custom tailoring. But yes, again, when you spoke about entrepreneurship, that is again a huge need gap, which is that when big brands, when it comes to scalability, they look at prototyping. It's like economies of scale, prototyping a small, medium, large XL into X number of outfits. But then if you get into custom tailoring, then it is you're just making that one outfit because this person might be double XL at the top, or might be just large at the top, or might be medium at the top. You never know. You're custom tailoring, and then of course when you're custom tailoring for that one specific person, you don't get those economies of scale, and that's why the prices is higher, because you're making it customized for one particular person.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, my next question to you is: how will fashion industry from designing to merchandising change in the next 5 years? What do you think?
A lot, like I think we started with your first question, which was
Introduction
uh,
of AI and robotics in the fashion industry.
yes, yes, yes. A lot of use of technology, a lot of use of data. if you really have to scale up. And the world is using data. In fact, today I posted, one is to have the data, second is to be able to analyze the data or present the data the way you want it rightly. I think the usage of data is going to be very, very imperative, whether it's going to be merchandising or design. So today, I'll give you a small example. So one of our brands is in the e-commerce space, right? Uh, and it's a startup. It's called Office and You. It's for working women. Now, a lot of working women wear trousers or pants, right? We have maximum sales in that particular category, but we have maximum returns also in that category. Now, you must be wondering, why is that so? Now, if I sell a kurta, an inch or 2 inch or even 3 inches loose or tight still works. But a trouser, you always want it fitted. You will never go for a trouser which is 2 inches or 3 inches loose at the hip or the thigh. You want a perfect fitting trouser. Now, that's a limitation of the e commerce space, because you don't get to keep trying the outfits. In a physical store, you will go and try and pick up what you want. So we do. So there is a lot of demand, but there are disproportionate body structures, which is why we get maximum returns. Now, data. So that is where how merchandising has or designing for us has changed, because when we got this data that there's a lot of demand, but there are a lot of returns, presumably because it's not fitting people well. So we opted for lycra based trousers which can stretch and fit various body sizes. Now, this information purely came from the data which was available. So the whole game is of the data, where it empowered us to crack that formula, that what is going to work well for us and to minimize the returns, uh, which otherwise would have not been possible. So I think this is what is, because a lot of people are now opting to buy online and e-commerce and social media. So all the data that is coming, again, you'll be surprised when we are talking about Office and Duo as a brand. Typically, you would think that women who are going to office will be buying these outfits. Women who are in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, those might be the cities. But you will be surprised, the data that comes in, 80% of our sales come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, not even tier 1 cities. Now, tier 2, tier 3 cities, how many women are working? I don't know. For all you know, they might be just wearing it to their kiddie parties. I don't know. Or they just have an aspiration to go to an office while wearing an office wear outfit. Now, all this is actually coming from the data that is being collected. So I think which will also help us now when you're talking about designing merchandising. I'm also talking about business strategy. Tomorrow, if we have to open a store, will we open in a tier 1 city, tier 2, or tier 3? Now, all this data is going to help us make those business decisions.
Indeed, ma'am, as you have mentioned that data has a lot of importance in the upcoming future years, and we can say that now World Wide Web is not the future anymore; it's present now. Everyone have the same accessibilities, everyone have same the opportunity, and almost everything they can get. Suppose if anything they is not finding in their city, they can order online as well. And also, ma'am, it was a very wonderful answer, insightful answer from your side. But I don't want to take you much time, so moving to my last question of this session. Actually, the question is, ma'am, how do you see what are the career opportunities available, or we can say, what will be the career opportunities available in next few years for this upcoming youth, those who are into this, those who want to pursue their career into this?
I think a lot of people, when they think of fashion designing, they typically think of you actually designing. Um, there has been a great shift from that space to marketing and selling, which wasn't in last so many years, because people were selling through the set platforms. Now there are so many platforms to sort of sell from. There are offline stores, there is distribution, there is online e-commerce. So I think a lot of merchandising and marketing in the front end, where very few people are sort of trained. I think that is the area which is going to generate a lot of demand in terms of human resource.
Indeed, ma'am, it was again a quite insightful answer, and I must say it was a very healthy discussion with you over the topic. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining, and I can say there's a lot to learn from you, and the kind of energy you brought into this session was very inspiring. Thank you so much, ma'am. We look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future if possible. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Harsh. It was an absolute pleasure to be here and wonderful work that you guys are doing. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone